Most people believe real estate passive income is reserved for the already wealthy, for the people who started with money. But the math, the actual math, tells a completely different story. And in the next 9 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how ordinary people are quietly building $10,000 a month in passive income through real estate. Not through luck, not through inheritance, through a repeatable, learnable system. Stay with me, because what you're about to learn could change the entire trajectory of your financial future. Let's start with the biggest myth. The idea that you need to be rich to invest in real estate. Here's what most people picture: a multi-million-dollar portfolio, a team of property managers, decades of experience. And while that's one version of real estate investing, it is not the only version. In fact, it is not even the most effective version for someone starting from zero. The truth is that real estate passive income exists on a spectrum. On one end, you have the large commercial portfolio, high barriers, high rewards. But on the other end, you have entry points that require nothing more than a modest down payment, the right knowledge, and the willingness to act. The wealth gap in real estate is not about access to capital. It's about access to information, and that changes today. Now let's talk about cash flow, because this is the foundation of everything. When you own a rental property, the rent your tenants pay should exceed your mortgage, taxes, insurance, and maintenance costs. That difference, that monthly surplus, is your passive income. It sounds simple because it is simple. The complexity only comes in finding the right deals and structuring them correctly. A strong rental property in today's market generates anywhere from $200 to $800 per month in net cash flow per unit. That might not sound like much, but let's do the math. To generate $10,000 a month in passive income, you would need between 13 and 50 rental units, depending on cash flow per door. That's a portfolio. But it's a portfolio that can be built over years, not decades, using the right strategies. So what are those strategies? There are 3 primary paths that real estate investors use to build passive income, and each one is accessible to someone starting from scratch. The first path is house hacking. This is the most powerful strategy for someone with limited capital, and it is the most underused. Here's how it works. You purchase a small multi-family property, a duplex, a triplex, or a fourplex. You live in one unit. You rent out the others. The rental income from your tenants covers your mortgage, sometimes entirely. Suddenly, your largest monthly expense, your housing cost, drops to near zero. Every dollar you were spending on rent is now building equity. And if the numbers are right, your tenants are actually paying your mortgage and putting money in your pocket every single month. House hacking is the springboard strategy. It allows you to enter real estate with owner-occupant financing, which means lower interest rates and lower down payments, as little as 3.5% with certain loan programs. You live there for a year, you stabilize the property, and then you move on to your next acquisition while your first property runs itself. The second path is the BRRRR method. Buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. This is the strategy that separates beginning investors from building investors. Let me walk you through it step by step. You find a distressed property, something underpriced because it needs work. You purchase it, typically with short-term financing or private money. You renovate it, bringing the property up to market condition. You rent it to a qualified tenant. Then, and this is the key step, you refinance the property at its new, higher appraised value. In many cases, you can pull out most or all of your original investment through the refinance. You now have a cash-flowing rental property with little to none of your own money left in the deal. And you take that capital, and you do it again. This is how investors build portfolios that seem impossibly fast from the outside. They are not using more money. They are recycling the same money over and over again. The third path is the most passive of all: real estate investment trusts, or REITs. If owning physical property feels too hands-on, REITs let you invest in large real estate portfolios, the same way you'd invest in stocks. You buy shares. You collect dividends. REITs are legally required to distribute at least 90% of their taxable income to shareholders, which means yields are often between 4 and 8% annually, far exceeding most savings accounts or bonds. For someone just starting out, REITs offer immediate diversification, no maintenance headaches, and complete liquidity. The trade-off is you give up control and direct appreciation. But for building a foundation of passive cash flow while you educate yourself about direct ownership, REITs are underrated. Now let's talk about building your first portfolio, because strategy without execution is just theory. Step 1. Get your financial house in order. Understand your credit score, your debt-to-income ratio, and your available capital for a down payment. Step 2. Choose your market. The best cash flow markets are in secondary cities, not coastal metros where cash flow is thin. Step 3. Learn the underwriting. Know your gross rent multiplier, your cap rate, and your cash-on-cash return. Step 4. Build your team. A great agent, mortgage broker, contractor, and property manager will determine your returns. Step 5. Buy your first deal, then learn, then buy again. Every deal after the first gets easier. Your confidence grows, your systems improve, your passive income compounds. Here's the honest truth. Building $10,000 a month in passive income through real estate is not a get-rich-quick proposition. It is a get-rich-for-sure proposition, if you are consistent, patient, and willing to learn. The wealth that real estate creates is not a secret. It is a pattern. And patterns can be learned, modeled, and repeated. That is exactly what we teach on this channel, week after week, deal by deal. This is Property Playbook, and your playbook starts right now. Hit subscribe and never miss a lesson.